Good afternoon, everyone. We present KOA Marketing News, the program featuring interesting news and interesting people from the world of business, selling, and manufacturing, business that affects the Western market area. This is Chuck Muller, your KOA Marketing Editor, all set to introduce our guest this afternoon, who is Bernie Haggard, florist of the Cherry Creek Shopping Center. And Bernie's here to tell us a little about the center and a little of the future of the center. Bernie, welcome to KOA Marketing News.
Thank you, Chuck.
I wonder if you'd fill us in just a bit for those newcomers to town who perhaps weren't around when Cherry Creek Shopping Center was planned and initially opened, and give us a bit of the history of the center. How long has it been in existence?
Well, nearly 6 years. I actually was one of the first leases signed in the center, and when I opened my store out there, the building that I am in now, and the Miller's grocery store, at that time it was Miller's, and the Denver Dry and Sears were the only buildings. The other building, parallel to the one that I'm in, didn't exist at that time. Mm-hmm. And so we were one of the first. As a matter of fact, my store was the only one that faced south. We were sort of lonesome out there for a while.
For a while. Now you have lots of company.
Lots of it. We sure have.
Bernie, how many enterprises are represented in the center?
Well, Chuck, I don't know the exact number. It's approximately 40. As a matter of fact, I think it's 41, 42, or 43, but I'm not sure, but it's 40-some.
Mm-hmm. Well, now, certainly that's a good-sized representation of the various kinds of retail businesses in which one can engage. I wonder if you'd tell us a bit about how planning for the center progressed. Was there specific provision for one kind of each enterprise in the center?
Well, it was based on the fact that this would cover an area comparable to a city of a certain size, and they tried to choose businesses, and as many businesses as it would require to service a certain given area of population. And in some cases there are 2 or 3 businesses handling pretty much the same item, different brands and so forth. And for example, in my case, a service business, there is only one in the immediate center itself. Mm-hmm. And it gives you quite a diversified chance to do business. As a matter of fact, it's like a small city.
Speaking of planning, has the parking been adequate at all times?
Well, at the peak times, for example, at Christmas, Easter, and Mother's Day, even like my own business, you can always use more room. Mm-hmm. It seems like you never have enough. But in most cases, yes, I would say that the parking is adequate. I don't, unfortunately, remember the number of cars that it's possible to park there, but it's quite a few.
I have never personally had any difficulty in finding a parking space. That's why I asked.
Well, I don't think that most people have trouble parking. I think a lot of people, frankly, are a little spoiled, and in going into a lot of areas, they take for granted they're going to have to park and pay for it and walk 7 or 8 or 9 blocks, but they might complain a little bit if they have to walk over a half a block out in the center because they're used to going exactly where they want to go.
Sure. Well, I think that is the basic concept of modern shopping center design. Bernie, I know that Cherry Creek Shopping Center has been successful. I wonder if you might use as an indicator of that success. Have you ever had a vacancy for any length of time?
No, never. Never has been. We've had people who have moved, and their space has been taken over immediately, and it might appear that it was vacant for some time, but actually probably the lease was signed immediately, and some firm spent some time in planning the decor of the vacancy or something like that. But I don't think there's ever been a time that there's been a vacancy as far as the lease is concerned. They're taken up immediately.
Mm-hmm. Do all of the merchants at the center belong to some kind of an association?
Yes, it's a very democratic group out there. We have our own little Cherry Creek Merchants group. At the moment, Earl Kramer is president, and we have a board of directors. We meet once a month, usually. Well, as a matter of fact, they're having a meeting this morning, I believe. And we have our own advertising committees, and it's run on the same basis as a large business operated.
Just, Bernie, to put this in proper perspective, these programs are recorded in the middle of the week and broadcast on Sunday. We wouldn't want to leave folks.
No, we wouldn't want a meeting on Sunday morning.
A business meeting on Sunday morning. Well, now, Bernie, I understand at the time the Cherry Creek Shopping Center was planned that it was forecast that ultimately this would be the population center of Denver. And I understand that forecast is really being borne out.
Yes, it certainly is. We were shown graphs at the time that showed the population growth and the centers of population as it had progressed toward our area from across town. And at the time we started, I think the population center was shown to us as being approximately where the country club actual building is now. And now I understand that the population center is almost directly within the confines of our center, Cherry Creek Center.
So that the forecast is extremely accurate.
Absolutely.
Now, as the city continues to grow and the metropolitan area continues to grow, I imagine that you're feeling the pressure for additional facilities at Cherry Creek.
Yes, I think each individual business is feeling that sort of pressure as well as the center itself. And there are expansion plans being made for the center. I don't know exactly what they are. I know that the area east of where we are now the entire area has been planned as being part of the center eventually. Mm-hmm. And I think that that will show some signs of construction probably in the very, very near future. I know of 2 or 3 places that have plans to put up buildings in that area immediately.
Mm-hmm. Bernie, I believe you're the first retail florist we've had the opportunity of chatting with here on KOA Marketing News. I'd like to ask you a question or two about the flower business.
All right.
How long have you been a florist?
Well, I've been in the business. This is about my 32nd year now. And in various parts of the country, I started in Nebraska, as a matter of fact. I apprenticed. That was during the days when apprenticing was the only way to get a start in this business. And I've worked in various shops in Montana, Idaho. I managed a very large shop in Detroit, one of the largest ones there. And I've worked in shops in Little Rock, Arkansas. And during the time I was overseas, I happened to be in Japan right at the about 2 weeks after the armistice was signed, with nothing much to do. So I went to Japanese florist school. So I've been in and out of this thing all of my life. Spent about 4 or 5 years actually in the wholesale end of this business to get training, basically, and did some work promoting Colorado carnations, as a matter of fact, in about a 26-state area.
Mm-hmm. Bernie, in the floral business, are you primarily concerned with cut flowers, or do you deal with growing plants as well?
Well, growing plants, as far as inside of the house is concerned, we do nothing in as far as yard outside plants or any of that type of thing. We don't handle shrubs and bushes and trees. Our main reason for existence are cut flowers, home decorations, home or house plants, business offices, the plantings that you see in different homes and offices, we do those. And, of course, weddings and funerals and all that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Retailing in a cut flower line, arrangements of cut flowers, and house plants.
Very fine. Bernie, I'm afraid that our time is gone for this afternoon. We certainly thank you for stopping by and chatting with us about the Cherry Creek Shopping Center. And here's wishing you continued success, you and your colleagues at the center.
Thank you, Chuck. It was a pleasure to be here.
Our guest this afternoon on KOA Marketing News has been Bernie Haggard, representing the merchants at the Cherry Creek Shopping Center this afternoon. And that's this week's edition of KOA Marketing News, a program spotlighting interesting news and interesting people from the world of business, selling, and manufacturing. Join us again next Sunday at the same time. This is your KOA Marketing Editor, Chuck Muller, bidding you goodbye until then.